Welcome back to the meeting after the meeting, everyone. We are your hosts, David O.
Carly R.
And Eric B.
And today we are joined by our lovely, fantastic, badass, eclectic, pink-haired guest from the West Coast, Jen. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Good.
Doing well. Talking football
Here's what I
and
want to know.
music.
Why am I always the meeting after the meeting? Why am I not invited to the meeting? That's what I want to know.
Meeting
I
after
think
the
we
meeting.
know the answer to that, Jen.
Jen, you're too cool for the meeting.
Yeah, nobody wants me in the meeting. I've already gotten that vibe already. I'm not really so welcome in the meeting. That's okay. The meeting after the meeting for the
Dude,
Tuesdays,
we're
right?
totally hanging out in the parking lot, smoking cigs, blasting some AC/DC, and you know we're having a good time talking positive vibes and recovery.
Drinking Bang.
Oh God!
Bangs or what energy drinks are you guys into over there where you live?
We've honestly, I think most of us we're just back to coffee for the most part, but a Red Bull.
Right.
Carly will drink a
Monster.
Red Bull.
Well, I actually haven't had a monster in a really long time.
Yeah, no,
that was
good
my
for
thing when I first came into recovery, but I don't drink
Monster.
them anymore.
Yeah. All right.
Wait,
Me too. I was a Monster drinker, man, when I first got into recovery. That was like the thing.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man.
All right, so we're going to do the next three questions.
What was your energy drink,
Sorry.
David?
Red Bull.
Red Bull?
Yeah.
Okay, that was Nas. So two
God.
monsters.
You were what?
Nas?
NOS, NOS. It's lame.
It tastes good.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's terrible.
I've seen it. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do a rapid fire 3 questions to get this out of the way. Where are you from, Jen?
I am from Temecula, California.
When were you first introduced to recovery?
Oh, you always ask this. I never have an answer 1,000 bazillion years ago, but I've been in recovery since May 1st, 2011.
So how long have you been clean?
Since May 1st, 2011.
That's 9 years for anybody who's listening out
9
there.
years, 4 months.
9 years.
All right, congratulations. And without
thank you.
further ado, we're going to turn it over to you to share on the topic this evening, which is...
Oh, well, I think we're going to Power Ranger this one out. We're going to I would like to talk about just being how we should really be careful of the words we choose when we speak to ourselves and about ourselves, because I think that our hearts are listening even if we don't realize it. Words carry a lot of weight. And then also attached to that would also be about, the stigma in recovery and in addiction inside the recovery community and outside.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. That sounds good to me.
All right, we'll take it away, and we'll take your lead and then interject when we feel.
Okay. So this has been something like I have been really changing in my life the past, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. I did this author's creativity workshop. It was, I don't know, but part of it was to like reconnect with our childhoods, right? We're supposed to think back to the joy of childhood. You guys all know my story, so it's quite laughable that I even joined this thing. But we're supposed to, part of it was to list 5 positive traits we had as children, 5 moments we could, remember being really proud of ourselves for accomplishments, 5 of our most carefree, happiest memories, blah, blah, blah. Basically, like I said, the point, the intention of this exercise was to connect us to the joy of being a child. And I sat there with my page completely blank. And I was just stuck. I was just sat there. I sat there so long that the other people started volunteering to share their answers. And all I could do this entire workshop was just listen. And, it really was a really incredible moment for me, looking back, because it really made me realize how I've never been able to truly connect to myself in a loving way. Because what it was that I was unable to list things that would coincide with what another person would view as an accomplishment or, joy or being carefree or whatever. The things that I am proud of today are probably different than, winning a spelling bee, or whatever. There are things that have been labeled as dysfunctional or, problematic, but everything that I've ever managed to come up with to survive to this day right now is something that I am really, this past year and a half, I've really been working on finding ways to love every version of myself that's brought me here. And, that workshop didn't teach me shit about writing, but it really did. It really did open my eyes to, I packed in so much pain throughout my life, like just pack it in and pack it in and pack it in. Until I was like an overstuffed suitcase, just like begging to be open. But I was so afraid of what it was inside because I didn't even know it was in there anymore. Yeah. And I was actually terrified that maybe I was in there because I had never really, I did not look in the mirror and see a person I had any connection with until I was probably till I got, into recovery at 34. That's a really long time. Yeah.
That's why I can't imagine the people that like start even later than that in recovery. Yeah. Like the people that get clean or sober way late, like goodness God, like somebody who is like 50 and just like opening that door to recovery, like that journey of self-discovery has got to be like very
gnarly.
It's got to be daunting to start with. Can you imagine that?
It's totally true. Oh. And so that kind of was a big moment for me. And that really kind of started my journey to like retracing, all the steps of my life and, grabbing every past version of myself by the hand and, carrying them home and loving them the way that they've always deserved to be loved, even if their behavior was labeled as something as problematic. I had a lot of behaviors that from the outside seemed like I was losing control, but on the inside, I was really just trying to hang on to control. I was trying to hang on. Oh, yeah. There was a lot of chaos going on around me and inside of me. And so I really think that, the thing is that, so one word I really have denounced completely is the word broken. I like walked around with this narrative of I'm broken for so many years, even well into recovery. But the thing about the word broken is that when something is broken, it needs to be fixed, right? And so we only fix something when there's something wrong with it. And we only fix something if there's something wrong with it. And the driver behind believing there's something wrong with you is shame. And you can't fix shame. You can't fix shame. You can get, into recovery. You can leave the abusive household. You can mend relationships. You can set a bazillion boundaries and change just as many behaviors. And shame will remain. Because shame is not about like rearranging your life or rearranging your furniture or whatever, paying your bills or doing your to-do list or working your steps. Shame stays in your body. Shame is attached. The only way to fix that was the wrong word. The antidote for shame is self-compassion. Finding a way to thoroughly love from your bones to your skin, love for everything that you've ever done that has gotten you to where you are today. Even the stuff that maybe you wouldn't have chosen today. There's a lot of things I would not choose today, but they are the very things that managed to help me survive to this point, if that makes sense.
Now, I sort of have a question about shame.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like there's almost two types of shame. Like there's like the internal shame that we like feel maybe intrinsically by ourselves, just I guess sort of naturally, like it occurs. But then I think there's external shame where we're feeling bad about ourselves because of the way we perceive it reflected through others, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense, anybody?
Yeah. I mean, I think...
No? You can say no.
I'm trying to like
I kind of get what you're saying.
Like it's like social shaming. I don't feel like I fit into the social whatever puzzle piece I'm supposed to fit into, so I feel shame about that, even though it's not necessarily something you did.
Shame is never anything that you did. That's probably the difference. Usually something you did is guilt, remorse, embarrassment, you know. But shame is always about who you are, inherently who you are. And so sometimes we feel shame about, you know, maybe certain events or whatever that take place. And some people are born into shame.
Ooh.
So, you know, I think I'm both. And I think a lot of us are both. Sometimes we're born into shame via, you know, the way that we were raised in childhood or experiences in childhood or, you know, whatever. And then, you know, that carries out into shame attaches itself to everything, to friendships, relationships, parenting, sobriety, recovery, you know, therapy. It attaches itself to happy times. It's about who you are as a person. So there's no way that it doesn't, nothing affects it. Like you can't, the only way to change it, the only way to change how you feel or how you see the way things are in the after is to feel the way you feel about the before. Does that make sense?
Sort of. That was a big sentence, and I'm like trying to wrap my head around it. I'm like, also, while like dictionarying, like Googling the definition of like guilt and shame, so I can like try and understand it for myself.
Yes, that's a very good idea. Do that. Yeah, guilt is feeling remorse about something that you've done, and shame is feeling like you're not worth anything as a person, no matter what you've done.
Yeah, for anybody who's listening, we'll throw it out there. So these are the dictionary definitions.
Explain it to me, because that's the part I'm at my fourth step.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. We're right where you need to be. Okay, so guilt is having committed an offense, crime, violation, or wrong, especially against moral or penal law, justly subject to a certain accusation, penalty, or culpable. Characterized by or characterized involving guilt, which I don't know how you define something with the word guilt. So I guess guilt is more like a consequence of an action.
Or lack of an action?
It could be lack of an action, 100%. And then shame is the painful feeling arising from the consciousness of something dishonorable, improper, ridiculous, done by oneself or another, or just susceptibility to disgrace or ignominy. I don't know that word.
I don't know what that word means.
So So I think shame is more of a feeling, and like, and in like, I don't know. That's difficult to.
Guilt can be fixed by making amends.
Yeah.
Or guilt can be, it can be eased by making amends, whether that be verbal or living amends. It can be fixed by, you can fix guilt. You can fix outside situations.
Yeah, I think guilt is more closely related to like regret or remorse, while shame is more closely related to like inadequacy.
Yeah, completely. Okay. Defectiveness, flawed.
Yes.
I use the word inherently because that just kind of makes the best sense for me, but just born wrong. Mm-hmm. And all these things must have happened because I am born flawed and born defective and deficient and all that stuff. Yeah. Shame's is the beast.
Yeah.
Shame's the beast.
Yeah, it's all it sort of encapsulates all those insecurities and inadequacies and just sort of, I don't know, becomes part of your self-esteem, I guess.
It becomes part of who you are. I mean, it actually changes who you see in the mirror. And I mean, I'm not really saying that so much literally, although it can change that as well.
See, it's all coming back to the man in the mirror right here.
It's
or the woman in the mirror.
See, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Starts with you, Eric, the man in the mirror.
Eric's processing right now. We have to let Eric be.
That's what Eric does. We don't poke the small bear. Okay, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Should genetically modify bears, but go ahead.
That's horrifying.
We talked about this. On Friday.
We did talk about this, how you want a tiny pet bear.
I want them to be able to genetically modify bears to be tiny and then domesticate those tiny bears to be pets.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that great?
Wow.
That's wrong.
Interesting. Like a little small Care Bear?
Kind of
like a little teddy bear.
Oh, if it was a Care Bear, then now we're changing the game.
He's alive.
Yeah, exactly.
This makes me so happy.
And they could play with dogs. Them and dogs could be friends.
This sounds much better than stealing a bear from Tennessee next year.
Can they do the Care Bear stare?
That's up to you, David. Can you train your bear to do the Care Bear stare?
God, I hope so. Give me some happy feelings, bear.
What the hell is a Care Bear stare?
What? Do you not know about that? Wait. That seems like right in your age range. Do you remember the Care Bears?
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. I remember the Care Bears, but not the Care Bear stare.
Okay,
what is my age range?
You're 29 years old, right, Jen?
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. Yeah, I got it.
100%.
Okay, I remember, yeah.
Yep. But to anybody who's out there listening, any younger millennials or whatever you are, the Care Bears were these happy little teddy bear things, and they all had different emotions on their tummies. And when something would go wrong in the world, they would all hold hands and get in a circle and do the Care Bear stare, where literally their happiness or their luck or whatever would shine out of them, and it would solve the problem. All the love of the collective unity of the Care Bears was the Care Bear stare, and it solved the problem, and it was a beautiful thing. And that's what kids are missing out on, stuff like Care Bears and Captain Planet. So that's what's wrong with the fucking kids today.
So, Jen, do you want to continue? I know we're in this
yes,
tangent here. But.
Okay, so from guilt and shame, go.
Oh, Lord. So, yeah.
Dead air.
I mean, I'm off in Care Bear land, but yeah.
I know.
So guilt and shame. Yeah, there's a total difference. And I think a lot of people don't even realize how much shame controls their life. Just like a lot of people don't realize how much trauma controls your life.
Yes.
Or, I don't think a lot of people really grasp, how much trauma, if you don't address the trauma, then, I think we've discussed this already before. I'm not always the trauma talker, but how important it is to really dig past all the surfaces of recovery, drugs, alcohol, eating, sex, all that stuff, back down deeper to the trauma at hand.
Mm-hmm.
And, shame is a huge byproduct of trauma. Whether it be shame from, like I said, the traumatic experiences or whatever, or then we feel shame for the ways in which we responded to that traumatic experience. And that's kind of what I'm talking about is, in that writing process, to list, when I was listening, everybody lists their things that they were so proud of and whatever. I don't have that. I don't have moments where, of quote unquote accomplishments like maybe some other people do, but I have accomplishments, and those accomplishments may be, I'm really proud of the little girl in my childhood for disassociating and surviving sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really proud of a lot of things that I did, and I've told my story before how, I believe at one point alcohol saved my life. I was very close to killing myself. And that is something that now that I've done this trauma work and really working on connecting myself to myself in a loving way, I'm really proud that I found whatever was in front of me to keep going, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Even if those things may not be what I choose today as a person on a healing journey and in recovery, that does not take away from how amazing that my body has been to keep surviving.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of my little get down on that. I think, and going back to just the words and the labels that are used, whether it be from the outside world or even inside recovery or amongst ourselves, I think we just need to be really careful, because we are listening. And sometimes we don't even realize, I used to make a lot of jokes about myself. I mean, I still make a lot of jokes about my age and, whatever. But
you're in your late 20s. You don't make fun of your age at all. You're good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I used to, but I used to make a lot of jokes about stuff that really hurt me. Mm-hmm. And I did it. It's like a coping mechanism. It's like a defense mechanism. If I joke about it first, or I throw it all out there first, then you guys can't find something out on your own and leave me.
Yeah, and use it against you.
I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let it all out now, so that you can be just mortified by how horrifying and harsh and how far it can push you away, and how disgusting I am now. But what I didn't realize was that I was hearing those jokes too. That my insides were actually absorbing the words I was saying.
Ooh.
And I don't think a lot of people really, really realize that. I certainly did. I mean, it's only been a couple of years that I've really been starting to do this work. So I had like 7 years in recovery when I did this writing class. Mm-hmm. So I think people can go their whole lives without realizing how much weight that word carry and how heavy it becomes. And not everybody has the same words, that are going to eventually cause them harm. I have certain words that for me really have changed the way that I define myself, and they might not be the same words as you. I know, as far as the addict or alcoholic, for a lot of people, that actually is a very empowering statement. Mm-hmm. They feel, saying I'm an addict for the rest of their life is something that empowers them. Yeah. They feel empowered by that. And I celebrate that. I celebrate that for anybody that feels anything that anybody uses that, celebrates, who they are and empowers who they are in their life. But then on the flip side, there's also other people that actually feel really weighted down by that. Yeah. And so I in turn celebrate the fact that they no longer want to label themselves that way. Yeah. So it's people are different. Everybody's different. I think we should always really support, whatever, feels best to people. I don't think that, not wanting to call yourself an addict anymore means that you're in denial. Yeah. I personally no longer call myself an addict.
Good for you.
Am I in denial that I can never, ever, ever pick up a drink or drug again? Absolutely not. I know who I am, where I come from. I'm in recovery for the rest of my life, period. But I just don't feel like I need to call myself that anymore. Mm-hmm. For me, it feels better. But that doesn't mean that anybody that wants to call, feels that that's an empowering statement. I say go for it. Do whatever works for you. Mm-hmm. But I think it's important that we dig through those statements and make sure that those really feel good for us, all of them. Broken, dysfunctional, addict, alcoholic, whatever, junkie, ex-con. I mean, I could throw out a bunch that a felon. Mm-hmm. That's another great one. Felon. Anything that puts a label on who you are as a person. Always make sure that you really self-assess that this is something that feels good for you, for sure, because there's nothing wrong with deciding to pull a word out of your language and say, I want to remove that now. Crazy is another one.
Oh, yeah.
I personally do not believe anybody is broken. I am not broken. I have never been broken. I believe people are in pain. And I was in pain. And we don't have to constantly sabotage our self-compassion with this like incessant disclaimer that pain doesn't excuse some of our past behaviors or maybe some of the ways we may have treated people in our past, because we already fucking know that. Like, who doesn't know that? Mm-hmm. I think even as it's happening, we know that inside. Pain excuses nothing, but it explains everything. And I'm not looking for excuses. I've never been looking for excuses. I want answers.
Ooh, yeah.
I wanted love, and so that's why for me, it was all about finding that love for myself. And like I said, that statement that went a little bit haywire is that I could not change how I see the after, how I feel in the after, meaning after my past, my today. I cannot change how I feel in today until I heal how I feel about the before. Because no matter the situations I may have changed outwardly or behaviors, how I truly feel inside about the before has remained. Mm-hmm. That shame has remained.
Yeah.
Those words I've held on to those words, that crazy and dysfunctional and problematic and broken. And I've held on to those words, and it has infected how I'm able to exist in my new life today.
Love that.
And I think that, it's the same with any type of stigma that people assume or, judge or, whatever. People that have been through, whether it be addiction or, I don't even like the word self-harm, but coping, that type of coping skill. Mm-hmm. I call it a skill because I really do. It's just amazing to me. If you really look past, the outward danger or whatever, really all these things are just a coping mechanism that are allowing people to survive pain that is unsurvivable. It's unsustainable. Mm-hmm. And that is the same with addiction.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's not a big, this thing about addiction, it's like this big thing. All it is a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Add it to eating, add it to sex, add it to gambling, add it to Amazon shopping, adding to,
Carly.
Add it to
add it to Amazon shopping.
Absolutely not.
Shoe shopping.
It's any shoe shopping. I really feel like we need, in order to reduce stigma, we need to add it to things that average, everyday people who think it's socially acceptable, it's in the same list. All it is a coping mechanism for trauma, pain, mental health, issues that are not being addressed. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. I hate the big, scary addiction. It's so big and scary and whatever. And sure, some of these coping mechanisms have dangerous side effects. But ultimately, all it is just a way to run from ourselves. And we run from ourselves in recovery. We run from ourselves even if we've never had a substance use problem, in lots of ways. So that's one thing that I don't know if I'll ever see it in my lifetime, even though I'm only 29. I don't know if I'll ever see in my lifetime where people view drug use as simply just a way to cope with pain, just as people who spend more money than they had in their bank account.
Yeah.
At Ross. It's just the same thing.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah. And I go on a big tantrum about the stigma inside the recovery community, but I think I already did that last time, but we don't have to go there.
Okay.
What? Wait. What stigma inside? What are you referring to?
I think we did. I think I know what she's talking about.
I think we did. I think we went through, you know, the harmful language that we use in the recovery and the harmful junk statements we throw out.
Especially with people on. We were talking about harm reduction.
We were talking about harm reduction and just people that are.
I think I had a good rant
beyond with it
that night too.
What the 12 steps are designed to do. I really would love to see all the recovery community become trauma informed. I mean, have you guys ever really researched the link between trauma and addiction?
Oh yeah.
Have you guys ever
the numbers are staggering.
Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just people that acknowledge that they have trauma. Those are just the people that really realize that they have trauma.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think a lot of people really, I think it gets a misnomer that when you hear trauma, you automatically think of either sexual or physical abuse.
Right.
And it's so much more encompassing than that.
So much more.
I think really mental and verbal emotional abuse is way more prevalent to kids than either sexual or physical, because just the way a parent can say something to a child can affect them for the rest of their fucking lives. And
it absolutely can.
Yeah. If and even if the parents have it under the under the disguise of putting immense amount of pressure on a child to always be perfect and always be a winner and a go-getter and all that shit, it can really get us a false sense of, I don't know, that desire to achieve to a child that can make them crumble. What if Michael
the need to be perfect?
Yeah, absolutely. What if Michael Phelps had been put under that much pressure and then just continually lost? He's a fucking gold medal winner and all that. Yeah, 100%. But what if he was under that amount of pressure and didn't achieve that shit? How disastrous could that have been on his psyche to be raised like that, to be you have to be a winner, have to be a winner, have to be a winner, and then you lose. That can be devastating. You've got to be relating to that, Carly.
What, that scenario?
Yeah, that analogy.
Yeah, I mean, with the pressure just playing sports and expecting to go perform absolutely perfectly all the time, and with one little tiny mistake, it was I was the worst person in the world.
Yeah,
I let this person down, I let my team down, and I needed to be able to change or do something better, but it was constantly on my mind if something went slightly wrong, and it was not maybe even my fault, but that's how I perceived it.
Yeah. And I know you've struggled with that in recovery.
What, the perfectionism?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
You've texted me so many times about your step work, I don't know if I'm doing this perfectly. And I'm you don't have to do it perfectly.
That is correct.
I'm you just have to do it.
But I have let go of that.
Yeah.
Of the perfectionism. Now I'm just not doing it, so.
Oh, that's perfect. Just go that route. Fuck it.
We're struggling. It's either one end of the spectrum or the other,
Perfectionism is a very tricky beast. And I struggle with, I think a lot of us struggle with that, but it's a very tricky beast because the word perfection has this really romantic kind of appealing sound to it. We use that word perfect, it's such a beautiful, pretty thing, but perfectionism is just, it is disabling. It is crippling. And the driver behind perfection, and drum roll, is shame.
Ooh.
It's the belief that you are not worthy as a person unless you achieve something that, let's be real, as perfectionists, there is no final destination, because it's never at the level that we finally go, this is perfect. Or now
you're hitting Carly so hard right now.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah,
I can see the gears in her heart just like churning, and she's like,
It's okay. I told David I feel attacked, exposed, and seen all at the same time.
That's a good thing. Dude, you will love Jen. Jen's amazing.
This is something that perfectionism also comes I battle this big time from childhood. You know, I'm trying to be as good as I can be. If I'm really good, then my mom's not going to want to kill herself. If I perform really well, then maybe my abuser is not going to hurt me this much this time. Mm-hmm. And what's amazing is that, you know, I carried that through, and it seems weird. How can you be a perfectionist when you're living under a bridge selling your ass for heroin, right? I mean, that doesn't really make sense, but it absolutely does.
You have to be the best heroin addict.
Yeah. I was trying to be the best of the best. But drugs and alcohol calmed that voice. It just made it to where I didn't have to see and hear that noise anymore, because that perfectionism beast will scream in your ear constantly. Mm-hmm. And it prevents you from doing anything.
Yeah.
Like you can't complete shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it's never going to be at the level you want. So you actually don't live.
Yeah. You don't even run the marathon because you're like, I'm not going to get the time I want anyway, so fuck it.
People just assume that perfectionism, like I said, it has this nice roll off your tongue, this word like, oh, you must do things really well. No, I don't do things at all because I'm straight up frozen.
Oh, I feel that.
I'm literally stuck in that cycle of that I'm not good enough.
So why the fuck even bother?
You know, and
yeah,
why bother? Exactly. Why bother? Because it's not even about what we're doing or you know, the project at hand. It's about who we are.
Oof.
Yeah.
Who I am as a person is not good enough. So yeah, it's that's another word that people throw out.
Now I'm starting to feel seen. Eric's over here floating on a cloud like, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Well, Eric's not in touch with his emotions yet.
Oh no! I gave up on perfectionism like a long time ago because it's a trap.
Did you? God,
yeah, it's a fucking trap.
I mean, I wish I could just give up on it.
If you aim for perfection, you're just gonna be disappointed because it doesn't exist. So, like, what's the point in, you know, trying to be perfect if you're not gonna get there?
But
like,
I hear you, but I can't change my mentality.
Mm-hmm. You just do
it. It's
Eric just does it.
I mean, if you failure is just, you know, an opportunity to improve.
I think the difference is that what you're speaking of, I mean, let me just put words in your mouth here then. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think what you're speaking about is a task at hand. Like if just do the task, and there's no such thing as a perfect paper, or, you know, there's no such thing as a perfect podcast episode. So just do it.
Except for this one.
What perfectionism is like literally about who we are as people.
Well, okay. Yes, there's the task side, but also, like, let's take the example of like my marriage, right? Like, I want to be the best husband that I can be. And I aim to do that, but sometimes, you know, I might snap and, like, you know, like a comment comes off, or, you know, I don't know. It's not always perfect, right? Like, sometimes we get frustrated and sometimes we get angry. So instead of dwelling on the fact that, like, oh man, like, I wasn't a good husband in this moment, you know, I'm like, I'm human. I'm going to fuck up. I'm going to learn from, you know, that specific encounter with my wife and try to recognize how I can be better next time.
Well, good for you.
I get what you're saying. Have you battled? I mean, I think there's probably different levels of perfectionism. I think women, I don't know if I should say this on this show, but I do have another girl with me now. But I think women really, really battle perfectionism on a deeper level than men do.
I mean,
I think it's different. I'm not saying you're wrong, but the aspect that I see it in men, because obviously we have a woman's perspective. I'm giving the men's because Eric is a silent robot. like when it comes to men and like the shame that they feel, I mean, the highest number of suicides in this country is men from age 25 to 40, and it's often because of that severe amount of pressure that like society has like put on them to be like, they have to be like this emotional rock and like not feel their emotions, not let them out, be the breadwinner, do your 40 hours a week, do like be the best husband, be this, be that. And a lot of men crack under that pressure, and it ends in suicide. So like I think like
it's different.
Yes, it's just different. I don't think I don't think men or women have it better or worse than another. I just think it's very different because I mean, and I have 4 sisters, so like what I can, and like stop me if I'm wrong, ladies, but like where I can project it for women is more of like the a lot of like the aesthetic stuff, like, oh, I have to look a certain way, I have to be a certain shape or a certain weight, and I have to act a certain way, otherwise I can't get the attention that I seek or need. So, and that's just what I see. I think there's a lot more physical pressures on women and young, especially young women than young men. So like that's how like I can see it being a lot harder for women for sure, is like trying to be that whatever numbers like that society says you're supposed to be.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. That's definitely, I guess it is just different. There's a lot of pressure for both sides in different ways. And I think we internalize things completely different than women.
Yeah, totally.
And I think it manifests in different ways. For sure. Yeah. So yeah, perfectionism is a bitch. It's a battle. I'm telling you, I fight that battle every day. And I think the only turning point for me that's been happening in the past year, and it's not even, I'm not even on top of it. So don't let me act like I am. I'm totally not. But has been learning to really love the things that I thought were flaws. To really honor the things, like I said before, that, I've internalized as signals and signs that I'm damaged. Because there has been things there's been things that have shaped me a certain way, but I'm not bound to how I have been shaped. And the only way to unbound myself is to release the shame I felt about the things that I've done to survive, to get here, to, withstand, all the stuff. And it's okay. I think I don't like also when we constantly have to, ram up our asses that, well, you did that to yourself.
Oh yeah.
Well, listen.
Yeah, that's social bullshit. Too. I hate that.
It is. Yeah, I already realized that. I realized that you see it that way, and that's okay. But it's not going to do me. It doesn't do me any good, and it doesn't make it any worse if I decide to flip that around and say I did the best I could do to survive at the time.
Yeah.
It's not going to make me feel any different or see the way that I realized that I used drugs to an extreme. I realized I committed crimes. I realized I broke into houses. I realized I went to prison. I realized all that stuff. And releasing myself from that, from ownership of that, and saying I did the best I could do to survive does not make me feel happy or proud, or like, it doesn't affect me negatively in any way. It's actually helping me heal.
And I think like people saying that to addicts, I think is sort of a cop out for them trying to be compassionate or sympathize or empathize with them in any way whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like somebody on the outside.
It's gaslighting.
Yeah, it's fucking gaslighting. It's like, oh, well, you did it to yourself. It's like, oh, thanks. I didn't fucking realize that I was the one fucking smoking coke. I thought somebody else was smoking it and blowing it in my face. Yeah. I was that high.
I'm enlightened.
Yeah.
Thank you for enlightening me.
Yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious. Now. Like, it's fucking...
Yeah, it's gaslighting at its best. And we gaslight ourselves.
Oh,
we
fucking
gaslight
right.
ourselves.
Hell yeah.
And that's why the language that we use is really important, that we always reassess, because who we are in early recovery is absolutely not who we are as we move forward, as long as we're constantly moving forward.
So what tools do you use? Like, what do you actively do to, like, use, like, to counter what you're talking about?
So... writing is huge for me. I tell this to you guys every time, I think, but journaling. And I was just on a live today on IG, but about journaling and how, I just really swear by journaling. I want everybody to journal every morning. And I think people think, well, I'm not a good writer, or writing's not my thing, or they put this pressure, and especially for perfectionists, we put this pressure on even our own personal journaling that, we're not going to know what Carly. To say or whatever.
You're nailing her down.
I was, let me just tell you. So, although I'm not really in the 12 steps much anymore, but I've done step work several times, and it's a fucking longest process in the world, because I cannot present myself as raw as I need to, because I'm so fucking worried about the perfectionism game on my 4 steps. So I don't know how long it's taking you, or how much, not even length of time, but how much torment and turmoil. And it wasn't even so much about the facts I had to write down. It's about how I'm presenting them. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Does that make sense,
Carly? It makes absolutely total sense to me.
I actually have zero, and I think this is common for more people than people realize. I had really no issue with what I have done in my past, as far as in my criminal history. The facts, there wasn't like anything I was really scared to sit down and tell somebody.
Yeah.
Partly because I had that weird coping mechanism where I threw it all out there anyways. Like, hey, my name is Jen. I used to rob houses. Like, oh, hey, I'm Jen. I used to sell my ass for heroin.
See, but I say shit like that, and Eric looks at me like I have 3 fucking heads. I'm like, hey, I'm David. I used to pee in people's mailboxes. And he's like, you're a piece of shit. And I'm like, thanks, Eric.
No, okay. You did some terrible things to golf holes and to mailboxes. And
what if I shit in a golf hole?
Okay, Jen, he's acting all big and tough right now, but really, when he was talking about this...
I feel bad about it.
Okay.
How about the vehicle where you stole all 4 tires off of?
Your demeanor right now is more of elation, but at the time, you were really I can't believe that...
I can't believe I did that. That was
ruined
horrible.
Someone's day.
Yes, but I am still very open about it. I am more than willing to tell people, I shit in a golf hole. Yeah, I chopped somebody's tires off their car. Yeah, I peed on people's mail. I did cruddy ass fucking...
You peed on...
Yeah.
You peed on people's mail?
Yeah.
What for?
Isn't that weird? Isn't that
for
weird?
fun. We would be drinking.
That's a little bizarre.
We would be drinking and driving, and I would want to pee in somebody's mailbox, but if the mailbox was empty, I'd be like, nope, we got to find one that's full.
Wait, so Jen, the peeing in the mailbox, there's more mailboxes, so I can see how David got to the mailbox one, I guess. But the shitting in a golf hole is even worse. First off, you guys had to consciously think, oh, I need to take a shit. Let's go to the golf course. That was an actual thought.
Already?
Well, you were in Howard County, so you would have been playing around.
I wasn't far from a golf course.
But you had to go there. You're not there. And then you guys had to get on the green, find a hole, and then shit in the hole.
Which hole did you shit in?
I can't remember. Whatever was most convenient.
You were just really hating on life.
I was so angry. I was just so angry at rich people. Like I just didn't. I had a thing against rich. I would only go to rich neighborhoods. I would never go to a poor neighborhood and do that shit because I was like, fuck no, I relate to them. But I'd go to somebody's mansion and be like, fuck your mail. I don't give a shit about you. You fucking millionaire piece of shit.
There it is. You had. Did you grow up without?
Yes. I was having my fucking power cut off and like all sorts of like and I was in the suburbs where that wasn't a thing. Like everybody else always had power and then all of a sudden mine would get shut off. So I'd have to go like, and there was the shame I felt from being different. Being different than everybody on the block. Like everybody was the Brady Bunch and we were the fucking Addams family and it pissed me off. And like I always
shame.
Yeah. I was ashamed of being.
You to shit.
Shit to go.
Yes.
That's some shame-based shit
that is some shame-based shit. I hope when they picked their ball out, they felt my shame.
But if you remember, Allie said that like the members wouldn't even gotten to that point.
I know. When I never even realized that. The groundskeeper. I fucked up groundskeeper.
You fucked up your people.
I fucked up my people.
Somebody who was working hard to make a living.
Yeah.
And you made them scoop your shit out of a golf hole.
Yeah. I fucked up.
Oh my
That's so
God,
fucked
you
up.
messed up on that.
I totally missed the mark. Like I was aiming for a dartboard and hit a bowling alley. Like I fucked up really hard.
You shit in the wrong hole.
I shit in the wrong hole. And I didn't even realize that until Allie said it. And I haven't done that in fucking 15 years, whatever. Like, and I was like,
just kept trying to think of higher numbers.
I was. I was like 2, 4, 15 years.
Have you done that in recovery?
No, I have not done that in recovery. I just couldn't think. I couldn't think of like the last time I did it. I guess it was
why did
2008.
Can we talk about this though? Like, why did you go to bodily fluids?
Well, because you're drinking and driving, you have to pee.
You have to relieve yourself.
Yeah, you have to relieve myself. What am I going to do? Just waste it in the woods? Fuck no, I'm going to piss on somebody's mail. Fuck them.
But I wonder how many people actively think like...
Dude, I feel horrible about that. You realize like I could have like peed on somebody's like postcard from their grandmother that was the last postcard they ever got from their grandmother?
Yes.
Like, how horrible is that? That's fucking terrible. Like I could have ruined somebody. Like and when I realized that I had this scenario where I woke up in the morning, I walked out my driveway, I'm having my coffee, I'm getting my mail, and it's just squishy with somebody's piss. That would have ruined my month. Like, not even ruin my day. I would just been like, every day you go out and you check the fucking mail, be like, is there piss in there this time, the motherfucker?
I can't wait for someone to piss on your mail.
Somebody's gonna piss in my fucking mail one day.
There's gonna be
and it might be me,
but
piss.
And yeah, I'm gonna get a flaming fucking turd on my fucking lawn or my stoop, and I'm not even gonna be able to get mad. I'm gonna be like, well, I had this coming. Yeah.
What a weird little side tangent there, guys.
Just know they had childhood trauma.
Yeah, exactly. So now I can empathize with that person and be like, wow, they're really going through some shit. Be like, I know where you're at, buddy. I should just leave a note and be like, I know where you're at. Please come talk.
I have the hardest time being like really angry at of most people for anything because I just see trauma.
You're better than me.
It's trauma. I really don't.
I need to start looking at it like that.
Yeah.
Because then I'll try, I guess, be more compassionate, but more like just kind of feel sorry for people.
Pee on people's mail and shit in holes in the golf course. How can you not have empathy for other people?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's difficult.
It was a dark time, okay?
I mean, we could compare. I've done some terrible things as well. Stolen people's heirlooms that are and pawned them, and they were never able to retrieve them.
Yeah, see, that's just different. What about you, Eric? I want to know what's your thing.
Wait, Jen, what did you steal of a child's?
I stole this lady let me live at her house, and she had a son there, and I stole his entire baseball collection that came from his dad who had passed away.
Oh, that's rough.
And and I pawned it, and it was this is the place I lived right before I went to prison. So this was my last like addiction phase before I got into recovery. But when I went to county jail, I was arrested outside of the condo that they lived in. I was driving this boy. I was in her car driving this boy, picking him up from church camp, okay?
Good God.
The cops were waiting for me, and they had found out where I was. I had like 11 warrants. It was bad. And I was using a different name, so she didn't even know my real name.
Oh, wow.
And so she came running out of sees all these cop cars and stuff, and she's like, my name was Sam. That's what was my name. I told everyone my name was Sam because the cops were just after me everywhere.
Yeah.
And she's like, Sam. And the cop's like, ma'am, her name is not Sam.
Yeah.
And her face was just, and her child is in my car. Anyways, I went to county jail and I got a visit, and it was the boy.
Oh,
he was like 9 or 10 maybe.
Oh, man.
And it was the boy and her. And they came in, and I mean, I've never been presented with so much guilt. Like I was maybe 10 days in. So, I'm still super foggy, still whatever. But I remember I just felt like I wanted to crawl in a hole and die. And they were so kind to me. And all they wanted to know is she had, after I was arrested, she had gone through her house and realized how much was missing. She had not noticed because I stole slowly. I slowly took,
Yeah.
And he said, where are my baseball cards? And I just told him the truth. I just didn't know what else to tell them. And I, they said that they forgive me. And I told them where I pawned everything so that in hopes they could get it back. And I don't know if I never spoke to them again. I don't know if they did, but yeah, that's shit. Yeah, we do stuff.
Yeah.
I don't need anyone to tell me that, pain is not an excuse. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to tell myself that either anymore. I get it. Pain is not an excuse to hurt other people.
Yeah.
But it explains a lot. It explains a lot. And what I was running from and stuff. So yeah. And then, I went to prison. So, I did my time, and I did not do as much time as would ever repay people back for what I have taken. Mm. I always say that I'm grateful for what I did get busted for and for what I didn't, because there's a lot of things that if I would have gotten in trouble for them, I'd probably still be in prison today.
Mm-hmm. And I'm the rogue golf course poop bandit. They never they never got me.
Gotten you for I don't know, bodily fluids can be considered, I don't know.
Vandalism.
That's chemical warfare. It's biological warfare.
Trespassing, vandalism.
Trespassing, vandalism.
Isn't peeing outside in Maryland a sexual offense?
Yeah, it is.
You'd be a sex offender.
Yeah, I would be a sex offender if I got called for that.
Is it anywhere, or is it only in the vicinity of a school or
it's anywhere. If you're peeing on the side of the highway,
I think it's anywhere.
You can.
If they want to be real assholes, I think they can do it anywhere. If you whip your
because it's
public indecency.
It's public indecency and indecent exposure.
Right.
So yeah.
Can you imagine? Yeah, that was really.
What about you, Aaron?
I'm never gonna pee outside.
I want to hear your malicious shit. Come on, give us something.
Well, I'm thinking right now of you squatted over a fucking hole with a cop just coming up.
Well, then really, this is a win-win because now you're thinking about that. So fuck you. Enjoyed that mental image, buddy.
I just feel like comedy would ensue,
Oh, dude, it was hilarious.
But
you fucking kidding me? I was crying, laughing the whole time. You ever tried to cry, laugh, and poop at the same time? Very hard to do.
Have you ever tried to give birth to a baby and not poop at the same time?
I have not done that this year.
Carly, do you have any children?
I do not.
Right?
I do not. I am recently engaged, so maybe in the future.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So you know, for the future, it's a very difficult task to try to push out a baby and hold in your poop.
There you go.
Great. Something to look forward to.
So
look forward to
the dark side of childbirth.
Yeah,
it is the dark side.
See, I already knew that. I have 4 sisters, 3 of them have kids.
I succeeded with child number 1. Child number 2 did not succeed, just so you guys know. I managed. Yeah, it's a bummer.
It happens. Mortified. What are you going to do? I mean, that's fucking life. Whatever.
It's no big deal.
Yeah, everybody does it.
Everybody poops.
Yeah, everybody poops. Didn't you read the book?
Yeah, that is a book.
Come on, Eric. Dish.
What?
Dish.
The worst things that I do?
What's your malicious shit?
At what point in my life?
I don't know. You tell me.
Any point.
I mean, if we're talking about stealing in general, I mean, we've all stolen. Depending on the person, it depends on what they have and what, we currently need. The one I regret is I stole my cousin's, like 2 or 3 of his bongs. And
dude.
Yeah.
That's it?
Then I sold them. That's the one I regret.
You regret stealing bongs?
I regret misplacing his trust.
Jesus. You fucking suck.
Do I?
Nobody would have shit in that bong.
I would have shit in your fucking bong.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, are you close with your... like?
Because you were close to him.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like...
You never just went full punk rock in any way whatsoever and just did something fucking nuts.
What do you... what does that mean? I didn't shit in people's mailboxes.
You never, hucked a golf ball through somebody's window?
Why would I do that?
Why not, man? Fuck it. Punk rock, dude. Yeah, I got fucking anger, man.
I'm not, like...
Yeah, see, I didn't have anger either.
Yeah,
I was not at anger on the outside. Anger towards myself, but not anger towards other people.
Oh, no. I was a tornado of teeth and fingernails.
Yeah, but why do you want to fuck up someone else's day if, why?
Because I was in pain and I wanted them to be in pain too. Because that's how that's where my mind was.
I went crazy sometimes, obviously, and I would get just wild, but I didn't go and down the neighborhood and I was like, oh, I should go shit on their car. That's just...
I never shit on a car.
That's just not my way of...
I peed on somebody's driver's seat once.
But why?
Why? Because I was really drunk and I was walking home.
Does he need a reason?
Do I need a reason at this point?
Yes.
Okay, I was really drunk and it seemed funny at the time.
I think this is some primal,
yeah, I was marking my territory. I don't know.
Of yourself, where you have to incorporate pissing and shitting into your expression of your anger towards the world. So you
had to leave a little piece of him behind.
Yeah,
so you're just throwing piss and shit everywhere.
Yes, I am that angry simian in the cage, throwing.
But you're acting like I'm the strange one for not doing the same thing.
You never did anything. What did you do? Did you ever throw a Molotov cocktail?
No.
Why?
Oh my god.
Are you serious? You've never made a Molotov cocktail?
I mean,
so much fun.
I have made small explosives when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yes, of course I had a pyro phase, but the pyro phase didn't go to hey, let's go burn down that house over there. Or no.
What? Why?
Because I'm not I want the abandoned structure to stay up.
Guess what? Some people just want to watch the world burn. You're looking at him, buddy. What about you, Carly? Moving on. He's boring.
I don't know. I've been over here trying to think.
Have you done anything malicious?
I don't know if I have a malicious bone in my body.
I don't know if you do either. You're a fucking angel.
I do a lot of shit that I feel guilty about. Do I have reason to feel guilty about it? Probably not, but I would feel guilty anyway. Did you ever just
unwarrantedly punch somebody in the face?
No.
What? Why are you what do you mean?
The one thing though that does stick out. The one thing that does stick out in my head was in high school. I don't
know how it devolved to this.
I don't know either.
This whole conversation.
So I was collecting coins. Me and a few friends were out of money, so we were like, all right, let's collect all of our coins for the weekend.
Yeah.
And so I took my Skippy peanut butter jar of coins into the Catholic school that I went to, and people questioned why I brought it in, so I told them we were raising money to buy a Christmas present for our friend's sick little sister who had cancer.
Oh.
And then everybody donated to it, and then we went and cashed in all these coins and had a hell of a weekend. That's something
malicious.
that sticks.
That's malicious. See, that's up there.
Yeah.
That's solid.
I'm not that person. I'm not at that level.
No, you're not. No. You're the fucking guy who was Googling the drugs he was about to put in his veins. You're like a fucking nerd.
It's called Arrowhead.
And it's called being a nerd. That's what it is.
Yes.
Did you really do that? Did you really Google stuff before you used?
Of course.
Or is that a joke?
No, that's dead serious. I'm dead serious, Jen.
That's 100% being serious, yeah. I mean, of course, sometimes you didn't have time to Google it, so you just took it, then looked it up. But most of the time, yeah. I was like, do I really want to do acid? Let's look up acid. Like, yeah.
Fuck that. I didn't have time for that shit.
Wow.
Well, I mean, sometimes you can't identify pills on Pill Finder because, like, it's scratched off.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Now, I've done that. I've looked on Pill Finder just to make sure what I'm buying is real.
Yeah.
Nope.
I've looked up pills on that Pill Finder thing, or I'm stealing everybody's medication, and I got a bunch of antibiotics and other shit, and I'm like, God damn it!
I've done that before.
I was reckless as fuck.
But also, if you're always taking drugs, you need to understand what the next drug you're going to take is, because you're already fucked up. So how does that drug fuck up the high that I'm already on?
I didn't care.
Well, that's a problem because
it was a problem. Why do you think I'm here, buddy?
Well, but like you can more effectively enhance your high.
No, I wanted to
understand how the chemicals work.
Dude, clearly I was
together and have a great fucking
far
time.
below.
No, that's not like there's effective cocktails. I'm a cocktail person. You know?
So was I. I just figured it out by doing it.
Yeah.
I just figured it out by doing it. Like, hey, I'm tripping and drinking and smoking weed. Oh, let's add cocaine to the fucking cocktail. Like, oh, that felt awesome. I just knew
what I didn't like by trying it, and then I just stuck to the shit I liked. That's it. I didn't really. Yeah. Once I found heroin and meth together were really the bomb.com, and that was all I wanted. You know, the two combination is what I did. That was it. That was all of it. That was it. Yeah. But I did trial by error, in the earlier years. And then, like, I cannot do mushrooms. I am not a girl for mushrooms. I'll just tell you that.
Oh, I agree.
Oh, I love mushrooms.
I fucking hate those. Those things are the fucking worst.
I loved mushrooms.
I mean, it's very possible I just did too many the 2 times I did it, but I was, like, sitting there normal, and then, bam, I could not see. The air was so thick with, patterns, and I couldn't hear. Everybody's voice was skipping, and everything was just so fucked up. I was just like, it was the only time I've ever been in the bathroom going, okay, talking myself down, like, it's going to be okay.
Oh, the bathroom was the best. That was the best place to be.
No, mushrooms can.
No, I always end up crying on mushrooms. Like, I was always in a ball somewhere crying at some point, and I was like, this is never going to end. I'm going to be stuck like this forever.
I happy cried 3 times on shrooms just because I was just like, everything is so amazing.
I'll tell you, the best time I had on shrooms was talking to my mother on the phone and watching Toy Story.
Oh, God. I cannot imagine that.
I don't know why.
Did your mom know?
No.
Good
She
Lord.
called me earlier in the day, and I was way too fucked up to answer, so I went home and called her back. I was like laying in my bed in college and
so
just
were you
watching
like coming
Toy
down?
Story. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's possible.
But that was like the happiest moment of my life. I had Toy Story on the TV, and I was talking to my mother.
Yeah. You couldn't be peeking doing that. Oh my God, no. No, that would be too much.
I was always in tears when I was peeking.
Dude, yeah. Like your eyes get so watery.
Mushrooms really affected my emotions. It made things really.
Oh yeah.
Now acid was totally different. Acid I loved, but mushrooms, man, no, I can't do it.
DMT was still the absolute tops. That drug changed my life forever.
Should we be promoting this?
We're not promoting this. This is bad. This is bad. We have gone so far off topic. We have gone to pooping in golf holes to talking about DMT. We're having fun here.
We are having fun, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, this is great. This is what this podcast is for. But no, I like.
Drugs are bad.
Drugs are fucking bad, and they all stem. For me, they clearly stemmed from a lot of shame and trauma and perceived guilt from my childhood, and it also it manifested violently. Like, obviously, because just like you said, all those words in my head of like, I was never good enough. And I made that point about parents because I had to deal with that. Like, I had to deal with psychological and emotional abuse from my father on top of physical abuse of literally, I think like the 2 words I heard him say to me more than anything else were worthless monster. That's what the fuck my dad called me forever. So like that, like, dude, I still hear that shit in my dreams, and it fucks me up like still today. But it's something that it doesn't have to control me, because like what you were talking about, Jen, like the power of words, and it's really like the power of emotions in general. One of the things I learned was through Buddhism. It's really making friends with your fear, because if you approach those bad emotions compassionately within yourself, and you allow them to come and allow them to be your friends, then you've cut their power in half. Yes, you're still going to be anxious. Yes, you're still going to be fearful. Yes, you're still going to feel guilty, but you're going to be like, these are a part of me. All these feelings are natural feelings, because we're fucking humans. We all have them. And any billionaire or president or anybody who says, oh, I've never been insecure in my life. Well, now you're a liar and you're full of shit on top of being an insecure asshole. Because we're all humans. Like, we all take painful shits. Some of them may or may not take them in golf holes, like me. But
so what you're saying is no, I love what you just said. That's exactly the spin-off of exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Versus, you're speaking on emotions, which is that's so huge. Mm-hmm. And then I'm actually taking it and inviting all the past versions of myself to sit with me.
Yeah.
And I'm loving them. Mm-hmm. And in loving them, they hold the keys to me learning to love myself.
It's fucking hard. It's hard fucking work.
It is hard. It is. It really is.
What's up?
So I think you guys asked me, because I better get off soon, because my kids are going to start eating the couches.
Nice.
But, mom life. So I think you guys asked me like what I do to help that shame. So like I was saying already, was writing. So one thing I do, I call it it's like a brain dump. Every morning I write, and I don't sit and write poetry. Mm-hmm. Okay. I write all the fears and the shit in my head every morning of I'm not good enough. I'm never going to accomplish this. I have to do this. There's no way I'm going to do it as good as so-and-so. I have a lot of projects going on, you guys, like a lot.
Yeah.
And so I am in a lot of fear, and I am in a lot of like lessons, and perfectionism will have me frozen and never achieving any of it, because I just don't think I'm ever capable of doing it anyways. And so I dump all this out on paper. And it is a way for one to clear away the shit that prevents me from moving forward. And I think if we don't clear that shit stays with us all day. And it's day after day after day after day. And I think most people realize, know that like we could sit on our dreams for years. Ooh. And sit on our, we could sit on our tasks or things we want to achieve, whether that be your 4-step or whether that be, big dreams and goals. We just day after day after day, if we don't clear out that noise, that negative self-talk, that shame, that whatever it is, the perfectionism beast that tells us that we're just not good enough, if we can't do anything anyways, so who we are sucks. When we clear it out, it's like it makes space for possibilities. That's one thing that I do. And another thing is I literally, and I've talked about my inner child meditation before, and I did this for a few years just with my childhood, just with taking pictures of myself as a little girl, when I, really had my first real strong memories of being abused. And, I'm pretty sure I shared this before, but I look at that picture and I close my eyes and I literally envision as best I can. It took me a while to learn how to do this, kind of like meditation. It's not something that just comes, it takes some practice. But I envision myself walking over and I see her sitting on the ground in the corner by herself. And I pick her up off the floor and I twirl her in the sunlight. And I tell her she is love and light and none of that is her fault. And together we are safe now. Oh. And I did this just with that little girl for almost 2 years straight, because really my shame stems from that age.
Oh God, my
shame as a 29-year-old woman, which I'm not 29, That my shame from the woman I am today stems from like a 5-year-old. This is well-made shame. This is well-made trauma. Shame that we get from children. It's really well-made. And when I say that, I just mean it's really stuck in there, man. Mm-hmm. And so we can't even, I feel like the healing journey needs to start as far back as you can remember first. Because as long as that wounded child is still prevalent, trying to heal, the stuff after that, it's still going to be infected because she's still there or he's still there and he's still sitting on the floor and wants someone to love him. And until he's loved or she's loved, then the rest of it's never going to feel loved anyways. Not fully, not truly, not wholly. So now, this past year or so, I've been doing that with, and sometimes I actually use physical pictures. I have, my mugshot pictures or, and sometimes I just have to remember what I look like. But I really, really try to actually envision a picture of myself during different phases of my life, whether it be the teenage girl who gave herself to anybody because she just thought that was the only way to get love.
God, I went through some weird phases.
These are things that, these are phases that we go through in life, and they're things that we hang on to. The words that we use about ourselves, and the words that we hear other people use, and the words we hear other people use about other people, slut shaming, or being poor, and all these things. So I actually take pictures of myself or envision, and I do the same thing. I hold them, like literally envision holding them and loving them and thanking them for every single thing they ever did to get me to here. Because I owe them. They have always been my hero. I just never knew it. Even the woman under the bridge using, even all that stuff that people want to label as dysfunctional and bad, this woman did the next best thing that was in front of her to survive shit that was not sustainable. And I honor it, and I'm grateful for it. And I don't need to, like I said, sabotage that by saying, it doesn't excuse stuff because I already fucking know that.
Yeah.
What I need to do is love her and honor every single bit of it. And that love is slowly changing the shame that is saturated inside of me.
Wow.
I don't think there's anything we can do on a current basis. Like I said, you can't rearrange your life or rearrange your behaviors that really heal shame. We got to go back.
Yeah, you got to go back to the source.
Way back, and then just start traveling forward. Just go way back, as far back as you can remember, and start loving that child, the teenager, the inmate, the whatever phases it's been, and start moving your way forward. And as that happens, it's almost like you don't even have to consciously work on loving yourself today, because you're loving as you love the past. It's like changing history. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
It's literally changing history. By being the mother that I am today to the little girl of my childhood, I'm reparenting myself in a way that's coming out as if I almost was raised by a different woman than my real mother. And so
that's deep as fuck.
Trauma,
you just fucked my whole brain up. God damn it.
I'm sorry, but it's really, I'm not trying to talk foo-foo. This is really work that many, many people are doing. It is work that I myself am doing. And I promise you that it is real. If you have childhood trauma, well, I hope, but if you have childhood trauma, you're welcome. David, talking about your dad and the things he used to call you, go back and be your own dad and re-raise the little, because he's still there. I mean, I'm not trying to talk third person and be really weird, but he really is still there. That boy is really still there, and he's still trying to protect you. He's trying to protect you from perceived shame and perceived threats and perceived, harm and pain. Our little children of our childhoods are still there. And so some of us have not such traumatic childhoods, maybe. And so then you can kind of move faster through that phase. Me, I had to sit in that childhood phase for a really, really long time. Some of us do. Some of us have to move forward, move past. No, don't miss the childhood phase. It's very important. But some of us get to kind of venture through the childhood into the preteen, and boom, we hit our 20s, and there's where our real work has to be done, and we have to sit there longer. But whatever it is, you can actually re-parent yourself, and you don't even have to worry about today. You just worry about that little boy and re-love him the way he has always deserved and was worthy of being loved. And it will change how you see yourself and how you exist in your after, in your today.
Wow.
So there's your homework.
Yeah.
But this is real
That's
work.
some big fucking homework.
Eric, you're kind of like the guy, the science guy, the Google. Like, really look.
He's the Wizard of Oz. He doesn't. Eric doesn't exist. He's an amalgam of a whole bunch of computer programs and Zelda.
He's the Wizard of Oz. I love it.
Yeah.
No, but really, this stuff is real. This is like.
Eric.
Like, people are really scientifically and biologically, and they're really researching and finding this stuff. This is like concrete shit here. It's the stuff we need to be talking about in recovery. Yeah. It's the stuff we need to be talking about in NA and AA and wherever all the A's and all the and Dharma, because this is the meat. This is the fucking gold. Yeah. Because fixing the behaviors and the 12-step, and the 4-step, that's all great. But you're not touching that little girl or that little boy. Mm-hmm. You're not, you can't rearrange shame. You just cannot. You can rearrange the outsides and things start feeling and looking better, but the shame will be there. The shame will stay. And when you really start to look into where shame affects your life, you're really going to see, whoa, this is really, really fucking with how beautiful my life can be. And I had no idea. Because I always want to say that there's no such thing as good as it gets in recovery. Yeah. Don't just assume because now you're not on the streets and now, you've mended relationships and you're not running from the law and you're not lying anymore, and things have gotten better, that's as good as it gets. Mm-hmm. Because it's not. Because if we really go back and we really heal the trauma or, whatever it is for each of us individually, it's like our whole world blows up. The whole world blows up into something so much bigger than we ever even realized.
Love it. All right. We've covered so much. Does anybody have anything to say? Anybody?
I don't.
Last call.
I think we're at the end of the road here.
Yeah.
I think we're at the end of the road. All right. Well, we would like to thank our guest Jen for joining us this evening again. Woo!
Oh my God.
And Jen, where can everyone find you?
Everywhere on social media as Resurrection with a K _of_me. And I also, tomorrow, myself and 4 other women are launching what's called the Sober Mom Squad, which is a huge membership.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
I did.
We were stalking you.
We were stalking you on Twitter a little bit earlier today.
Yeah, I haven't been on Twitter much, man. I just can't do it with Twitter. Twitter doesn't allow me to say as much as I want to say, and I got shit to say.
Yeah.
They limit the amount of words. I can't possibly, give my heart in 30 words. It's like, fuck you. I hate Twitter. But yeah, so Sober Mom Squad, if anybody's listening that is a sober mom to be, or even just curious about what sobriety in motherhood feels like, it's amazing. It's just, we're offering, so much stuff. Anyways, so I'm doing master classes on trauma. There's all kinds of master classes and a community and a Facebook group. And we do still have a free Wednesday, 3 p.m. PST meeting. It's all mom. It's just really great. It's all women and all moms. So
awesome.
I'm doing that. And I don't know what else I'm doing. A lot of stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're always happy to have you on, and we look forward to next time, where hopefully we won't talk so much about shitting in golf holes. But who knows? We never know where this is going to go.
We never know. Yeah, that's what I love. It's the best.
Beautiful. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us this evening. Make sure you check us and Jen out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube for more information about Eric, Carly, Allie, and myself. Go to podcastrecovery.com. And here's Eric with our... I don't know. Here's Eric. Here's Eric.
Yeah, you're having issues there. So here at Podcast Recovery, we are fully self-supporting. So if you would like to join our home group, go and check out the link to our Patreon below, or you can throw some money in the digital basket with our Venmo and PayPal accounts, which are also in the description below. And David, back to you.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. But most importantly, everybody out there, Carly,
stay safe, stay clean.
Bingo.